Welcome
Welcome
to
to
Shade in
Shade
the
in the City.
City. Please make sure as you guys are coming in that you hit that like button
You hit
and
that subscribe button.
And yes, we are jumping into episode, I believe it's 13 now, of Married at First Sight. Yes, it's 13. So, y'all, I'm losing all hope for everybody. Just everybody. So, and y'all understand why in a few. So let's just get into it and let's get shady. Y'all see this? This was the lesson of this episode.
Self-love.
Self-love. Okay, 17 days until decision day. We see Pastor Cal open up. He's talking about how the couples are really immersed in their marriages. Why does my note say Pastor House? Jesus. He says they still need to work through their issues and be able to see things through the other person's eyes. Actually, I believe that was Dr. Pepper. It might, I don't know. I don't know who said it. But anyway, so basically what's happening today is that Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper are going to visit all the couples for a session because we all know these motherfuckers need it, right? So we start off with Jasmina and Michael. We see Jasmina talking about how happy she is in their marriage right now. And she says they're in a good place, in a good space. And they vow to give 100% in their marriage. So we gonna see. Then the doctors come by and Jasmina feels that talking to Dr. Pepper will make her make sense of a lot of things. Michael says he's been giving it his all, but he still feels like there's a lot of things about his marriage that concern him. That y'all not fucking? That would concern me too. So, Pastor Cal.
I feel like he's done a lot to earn it.
Right. And I would be confused too. I'd be like, what more do I need to do? Put a bow around it? I don't.
You will pull a Steve. What more do you feel like you deserve?
So Pastor Cal shows up at the house, asks how everything's been going. And he says it's been a little bit of a roller coaster. Jasmina meets up with Dr. Pepper and says she's been feeling good. And she's actually happy to say that to one of the experts. So then they basically jump back to Michael, who admits that he was just doing things at first because he just felt like he should as a husband. And now he's putting intention behind it. He's doing it because he wants to. He wants to make her happy. I said, yes, Michael, you see the lights. Michael, yes.
Let me tell you something. This would be the type of thing where if he was standing up on stage telling this story, he would get people's bras and people's draws.
Right. Go ahead, Michael. So then Pastor Kyle is excited that he sees the difference between doing the work and just going along to get along. Jasmina says that it worries her that she doesn't know enough about Michael's past. Michael always tells her that's why he is the way he is. And she feels that she can't be married to a stranger. She needs to know what the hell is in his past. I mean, if you done killed a couple folks, or did I need to know that? I shouldn't have to run a background check on you. I should be able to ask you some questions. Therefore, Dr. Pepper tells her that sometimes you need more trust before you can talk about certain things. So basically, just kind of be patient with him. He also talks about intimacy and says that Jasmina used to give him a kiss every night, but stopped because she said she did it because she felt she had to as his wife. He told her he didn't want to be obligated And Pastor Cal tells him, no, you shouldn't have done that. That was wrong. Wrong again. That was wrong. He said the same way that you were doing things because you felt like you should as her husband until it evolved into because these are the things that I want to do for her. She needs to do that. I said, taking us to church. Okay. Come on, Pastor Cal. I learned a lot this episode.
You know who Pastor giving me right now?
What?
Your chick for Put a Ring on It.
Oh, Dr. Nicole. Yes.
The male version. Okay. Right. He said, because initially when he was like, you shouldn't have done that, like basically like she should feel obligated. I was like, what? But then when he broke it down, I said, yeah. All right. This is why you do what you do. Okay. This is why you are who you are.
Okay.
Because I was like, what? Like she's supposed to feel obligated? What?
So yeah, he was like, no, that's wrong. And you need the same way you had to learn, she needs to learn. And you shouldn't take that away from her. And I was like, that's right. So then we jump back to Jasmina and Dr.
But he does give him advice on getting that back.
Right.
Basically, giving her physical touch. And because I was like, damn, because I was like, well, now that he done closed the door on that, what the hell now? But right. Exactly. So Pastor Cal lets him know, like, through physical touch,
And then we see Jasmina basically talking to Dr. Pepper about intimacy and sex. And she says that she likes sex, but she tells her that she feels nothing when Michael touches her. So no. So basically, Dr. Pepper suggests that when they're having these conversations, they need to hold hands and embrace each other and basically get into a space of intimacy that they haven't had. Pastor Cal lets Michael know he needs to rise up, okay, as a husband. And they went through those trials and tribulations and came out better, okay? So I need you to do what you need to do as a husband and continue to lead. And come on, Pastor Cal. And and then basically Dr. Pepper just ends with letting Jasmina know that if she continues to withhold her affection, he'll feel like she never feels that way, even if the momentary and she says even momentary affection is good. Even if you're not feeling him tomorrow, in the moment when you are feeling it, act on it. So I can agree with that advice as well. Go ahead, Dr. Pepper. And y'all, Michael and Jasmina talk about their past. They sit down. They said, well, how did the meeting go? And, he said, well, I can talk about being more vulnerable with you. But that's going to take some time. That's going to take a minute. And basically she understood that. They said they've moved past their prior issues. Then they talk about the physical, and he asked her if she believes chemistry can develop over time. She said that was actually a really good question because that was something that was brought up with Dr. Pepper. And she lets him know that if by decision day they still were not physical, she would still lean towards yes, because she knows that the physical will come. So there's still hope that Michael might get some. And then, that pretty much, we see them just having actually decent conversation for once, not going at each other. One's listening, one's talking. So I actually am here for this growth. I can see both of them growing.
We have hope for them.
Yes, we now have hope. So let's hope that they keep it this way.
Well, not now. I've always had hope for them.
Oh, I don't know. You got a little rocky. Like Michael said, it was a roller coaster.
As all relationships are.
Ain't supposed to be that rocky. I want to get off that ride.
It's less than 2 months and they don't know each other. And they're married. I mean,
I would have got off that ride. We see Noi and Steve. Noi, we open up the scene and they're just not happy-go-lucky as we've usually seen them. Noi opens up saying it's been hard for her and Steve to communicate effectively. And they are at a point where they're asking themselves the hard questions. Basically, in order for them to make the right decisions, they both need to know what they want. And now it's time for them to have clear answers. so they can make a decision. So when Pastor Cal comes by to talk with Noy, and Dr. Pepper goes to meet up with Stephen, and basically Pastor Cal talks about their agreement with the social media use and her kind of breaking that. And he says how you can be a very happy couple, but it could be very little small things that could really.
Yeah, he lets her know that like social media is very beneficial, but it can easily hurt a marriage.
Right.
When the other party doesn't know about what you're posting.
Right.
On social media.
Right. She seems like she understands, she's receiving the information. But she also looks like she don't give a fuck. So then Dr. Pepper is talking to Steve, and he basically lets her know about the same issue with social media. And excuse me, y'all, I'm sorry. Dr. Pepper agrees that the social media use and her and using that to express her feelings online is not the correct way to go about it.
You got Twitter fingers.
Twitter fingers get trigger fingers, okay? You get me by finger. Shut up to my boss, Mr. Waving Nick. Okay, I'm sorry. I had a moment. I'm just saying.
Really, Trees?
Make sure you hit him with the prenup and tell that man that he's up. I'm just saying. I had to get it out my system.
Her with the prenup.
I know, right?
He's clearly the one with the bag.
Steve might not have no prenup to hit her with, but anyway, we'll get into that later. So basically the point is Dr. Pepper agrees with him completely and basically says they need to come in a space and a place where they can talk about things without her having to express herself to the world, which I can just say that I had an ex like that, and that is the most irritating thing in the world when someone goes, I hate people that use Facebook as a diary or Instagram or any social media to whenever you, as Steve said, whenever we're in distress, now you got to tell the whole world. That is so not attractive. Then we get to the issue of finances. Pastor Kyle is like, so Noy, what's really going on? And he's like, what question do you really have for Steve when it comes down to that? She's like, I just want to know if you can keep a job. Like, if can you hold a job? And Pastor Cal kind of laughs at her, but he lets her know that she's valid. Her feelings are valid, and that Steve needs to help reassure her that he can basically give her financial security for their future, for their family, whatever. Dr. Pepper brings up the same subject with Steve and lets him know that, look, bro, you need to have a plan in place for her, just her past. She needs this to feel secure. And if you can't give that to her, yeah, that's going to be a problem. So he understands, and he's like, yeah, he just feels like he's a machine and he's helping create someone else's future desires and not creating a future together, which I can understand. Steve has a way of how he wants to do things, and it's not.
He has an entrepreneurial mindset. So
right.
He's helping someone else get rich is basically what he feels.
It's crazy because they are so compatible, but at the same time, she has, again, I think I said this last review, she has these hard lines. And when she gets in a hard line mode, I noticed that it's always Steve kind of like compromising and being like, oh, okay. And I can tell that is eventually he's going to resent her, and that's going to make him unhappy because she's never willing to fold, but he always has to be like, okay, Noy, just so he can stay married.
Because you're my wife and I'm supposed to cater to you and your feelings, and you went through this. And
right. So I don't know. I guess we'll see, y'all. But then they get back in the house and they're talking about how each of their times went with both parties. Basically, they go over the conversation that we just had. But I think what was most important about this scene is he brought up the social media again to Noy, and Noisy came out. Noisy was just like, well, I hear what you're saying. And yeah, I know that you said you don't like me doing that, but you have your social media. Pastor Cal can deal with his social media, and I can manage my own. Basically, no.
But I respect what you're saying. I respect what Pastor Cal is saying. And he's like, but do you? Because
she also says the post wasn't about him, but she does feel like sometimes she does deserve better. What did I say? Gaslighting.
He didn't believe that shit anyway. He didn't believe that shit.
You knew you posted that shit about him.
You know what though? You know what Noy gives me? He wants to be an adult and grown up so bad, but yet she's a little girl. She's immature.
Very much so. When she can't get her way, she throws tantrums. Absolutely. I completely agree with that assessment. So then they move past that somehow because Steve is clearly the mature one. So they move off that subject and he basically asks her, well, what can I do? What do I need to do to make you feel like what do you deserve? Please explain to me, what do you deserve? And then she's like, well, basically she talks about the financial security and, having a plan. And he said he wants to sit down and make a plan and has no problem doing that. And Noy wants to see the plan first. So, y'all, then we sit down to have this conversation about finances. Steve doesn't have a spreadsheet, but he does have a list of things that they want to work on together. And I was telling Nels, I was still confused as to how we know what the numbers are. Maybe we didn't get to see that part of the conversation.
Now I was telling Trees that it ain't even been 2 months. He probably worried that this bitch might knock him off and want to take what the hell he got because that's his wife. Because he clearly got something. She works, but he pays more than her. And he stays home all day.
Apparently Noy is not with that. She says that she wants him to go to work. Steve tries to kind of reason with her and says, well, he can work a full-time position, but he could also work less, do some freelance work and make more money doing that and have to work less. He again,
well, I don't want to say freelance because he actually did use the word entrepreneurial work. So he actually wants his own business. He doesn't want to work for anyone else like he's been doing freelance. He wants his own business, and I believe he wants support in that. But he says that he knows she's used to the regular rat race. And if it doesn't make her feel comfortable with him not working the rat race and starting his own business, then they'll have to discuss that and see what makes her feel comfortable, which I'm not comfortable with. I feel like that's fucked up. And actually, when he brought it up, she seemed very unamused. She seemed very uninterested. And I don't see anything wrong with not wanting to be your own boss. I don't see anything wrong with wanting support in that and expecting that from your partner. And if I have enough money to plan out time where I can get my business started, even offered her to be able to stay home before she gets pregnant. And didn't I say this last episode?
Yeah.
So it's not like he's being selfish.
Right.
It's not like he's like, okay, well, I saved up this money and, you go work and I can get to stay home. No. He's like, this is what I want to do. I want to start don't give me that Trace.
No, I'm right now. You know why I'm laughing? Okay. So
because I've been there. I've been the support system for someone starting their own business. I don't see anything wrong with it.
No, I understand what you're saying and I get it. I've also been the one that has had
that's different. That's not starting their own business.
The aspiring rapper.
That is not the
same. and has not made one damn song.
That's totally different. That's different. That is a starving artist. And right now, and Steve is not starving. Steve is not starving. He is paying most of the, you can't get mad at him. It's not like he's like, support me. I want to start my own business, but I'm broke. He has saved up. He's paying most of the bills, cleaning and cooking, and just wants support in starting his own business. Let me tell you something. If he dropped this bitch, I guarantee you there'd be mad fucking females in his DM.
No, it makes sense. No, Steve is trying and Noi is still. But then what was crazy is they end the scene and they started talking about how soon they want to have a baby. And Noi, this is the same person that didn't want to move in the same house with this man.
He's like, what, 5 years? Like, right. What? Like,
she didn't know if he could pay the half of the bills, but now she says she wants a baby by this time next year. Where's the money coming from, Noi? You clearly expect it to come from somewhere.
Where's it been coming from?
Right. So if that man can plan for y'all to have a child and still take care of your household and does not report to somebody's office every day, you better leave that man alone. That's all I'm saying.
Let me say something. The fact that he was able to get out of the rat race, save up enough money to do so that he can go on road trips and go sleep in the woods and go sleep on the beach or whatever the fuck he want to do. Says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And actually shows that he's more financially stable than yours.
Probably.
Can't do that.
Probably. Yeah. Fast.
Still worried about where the next dollar is coming from. Otherwise, you like this.
Good points.
So we are getting into Mark and Lindsay. Mark lets us know that it's been a very difficult week for the both of them. And they're trying to navigate basically having a healthy relationship within their marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So, Lord have mercy. They start off in an argument. Okay.
She says, I need consistency. That's
I just want consistency. That's it. You know what though? Let me tell you something. I ain't gonna lie. That's what most females want. Consistency goes a long fucking way. It means a lot to us. Beyond being consistent, it means trust. It means we can count on you. It means a lot of shit. Okay, so
and she says he's consistently inconsistent. Inconsistent,
and there's a lot of that too. So that's not what we mean when we say be consistent. Okay, and basically, you know, Mark is like, well, I want healthy communication. You want consistency? I want healthy communication. And she feels like we can get healthy communication through consistency. So basically, you give me what I want, I'll give you what you need. And, you know, he's like, look, I'm not a quitter. And the last 5 weeks have been tough, but he's here. He's here and
he's not going nowhere.
Lindsay ain't really feeling it. She ain't really feeling it. If you're not giving her, she's like, if you're not giving her what he's tired of these unhealthy fights that they have, is basically what he's saying. Pastor Cal wants to help him realize, Mark wants to basically, he just wants to find out really what's going on. He's hoping that Pastor Cal can help him get to some type of resolution and figure this whole shit out.
Right.
And Pastor Cal helps him realize that the way his mother screamed at his dad. I'm all over the place. Jesus Christ. I'm trying to go off my notes. Sorry, y'all. The way his mother screamed and yelled at his dad is a trigger for him. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you something. I ain't gonna lie. It got me a little emotional because Mark the Shard got all emotional talking about how he loves his mother, but you know, his dad would sit quiet when his mother would scream at him. Right. And Pastor Cal asked him, like, are you afraid to be your father? And it seemed like it was just a light that
went off in his head.
Exactly. He's
like ding, 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 ding.
He's like, I've never been asked that before, which would make sense as to why he gets so defensive, why he gets so upset when Lindsay is screaming and yelling at him, because he doesn't want to be his father. He doesn't want to just sit quiet and not defend himself, not take up for himself. So I
also like when he basically says, you do like caring for your mother, and he said yes, and he said why? He said because she does everything for me. And then he realized that's basically why he was paired with Lindsay. She may not be able to be his mother, but she serves and gives him the love and compassion that basically he's looking for, is trying to give him that. And once he was able, like she said, it was like a light bulb that went off, and he was able to see the connection that like, oh, I'm basically attracted to someone that has the same quality that I value in my mom.
But Pastor Cal lets him know, look, Lindsay is not your mother. Okay.
And she's not your mama.
She's not your mother. But if you give her the security that she's looking for, I guarantee you will see a different Lindsay. So Mark the Shark basically makes some changes. Okay. And Lindsay will follow. Okay. Then and he lets him know that, well, Mark the Shark is basically, he just wants a healthy relationship. And Pascal's like, look, it can happen. She can work on her communication, and you can have a healthy relationship. Just listen to me, homie. Do what I tell you to do. Just listen to me. So Dr. Pepper then meets up with Lindsay, and somebody please tell me, I may need to Google it or something, because I don't know if Lindsay is super tall or if the women on this show are super tall and Dr. Pepper is just super small. And there's nothing wrong with small girls, because me and Teresa are both super small. Okay. Right. But these women are towering over Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Okay. Towering. All right. I need to know, okay, they are super duper tall or if she's super duper short. Anyway, so Dr. Pepper meets up with Lindsay, and of course they're discussing Mark. She lets her know that Mark is genuinely a nice man and usually has good intent. But her issue with him is consistency, as we know. And, you know, Dr. Pepper basically, you know, she tells Dr. Pepper that she let Mark know that initially I'm going to give you 110%.
Right.
I'm going to be all in. And if you fuck it up, then that's it. You're never going to get it again. And Dr. Pepper lets her know, do not broadcast that. Do not broadcast. Not broadcast. Forecast. Yeah. Forecast that. Because it'll make him defensive.
Right.
So
basically just stay in the present. Talk about what's going on in the present moment.
Exactly.
Look, Dr. Pepper was out here dropping gems. Okay.
She was. She also lets Dr. Pepper know that she feels like Mark is present for everyone except for her, which I can only imagine is a huge pill to swallow. Given that in their previous conversation, she was saying that, you know, he would text people or post on social media before saying goodnight to his wife.
Right.
Which I can see. You want to be his priority. So Dr. Pepper wants to talk to Lindsay about the way she communicates and the way she says things. Because that is the issue for Mark. And she is asking Lindsay if there's ways that she can say things without coming off the way she normally does, condescending. Can you say these things without being hurtful?
Right.
Or without being rude? Maybe what you should try doing is asking questions. Mm-hmm. What can I do? Or what am I lacking in? Or and it won't come off so mean and so harsh. And Lindsay is basically saying that all of her anger that she's feeling is coming from a place of sadness.
Mm-hmm.
So Dr. Pepper tells her, deliver your sadness, basically deliver your words from that sadness, your hurt from that sadness,
Instead
not from anger. And that's something that you guys can build off of. So then we get back to the house.
We forgot the questions.
The questions. What are the questions? Oh, she wants him to ask, what do you think love is now?
Mark.
And can you define an emotional connection with him? Also, can you walk away from a disagreement before it gets too heated?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we sit down, when we get back to Mark and Lindsay having the conversation, I don't see that she asked all these questions. I do remember her asking, what is love to him now?
Yeah, that was the first one.
That was the first one. But they have a conversation about how their conversations went with Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper. And he lets her know about the comparison to him and her with his mother and father,
mm-hmm.
and why it's a trigger. Once again, Mark is getting teary-eyed, like, little baby, you ain't no shark, you a minnow, homie. You ain't no shark. So he asked her why, does she go to such a place of hurt?
Right.
Like when they're arguing, why does she try to hurt him so bad? And what she says is, and I'm going to read exactly what she says. She says, when she tries to explain herself and she does not feel heard and someone raises their voice or talks over her, it makes her feel invalued. Which apparently is super upsetting to her. She also says that she doesn't know how to say it in a way that he gets her, because if she says it twice, he says that she's nagging him and he shuts down. Or he gets reactive and she matches his energy. So if he says she doesn't care, she's like, well, fuck it, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I'm out of here. She's like, well, I'm out of here. Which is super unhealthy, but that is their relationship. He lets her know that they both need to work on their volume and the way they communicate, because communication is everything. Mark tells her that if he didn't see enough good in her, then he wouldn't be there, and that he's not going anywhere. All right, Mark. Let your wife know.
Okay, Mark, we see you trying.
So we are grocery shopping, y'all,
for the
with
first
Elijah
time.
and Katina. Okay. Katina lets us know that she realizes that food is very important in their relationship. She's just realizing it, but we knew it ahead of time. I'm sorry,
right.
we couldn't send no smoke signals or no warning signs, but Elijah want to let us know long time ago.
That was a factor. Okay.
And then it looked like Katina again. She's trying to feel a little freaky. She isn't. I feel like she's tired of waiting. Okay, she pulls up she grabs some hot fudge. So maybe we need some of this. Damn. That's how you trying to have your first time be, huh? With some hot fudge. Katina clearly cannot convince that Elijah. Clearly can't convince Elijah that she can cook a goddamn thing. Okay. Basically, they see a slab of ribs. And she's like, oh yeah, I can make ribs, because he wants some ribs. She's like, oh yeah, I can make ribs. All I gotta do is season them and cook them. He's like, you say that about everything. Just see what you gonna season it with.
Right.
Some salt, some pepper. He's like, that's the first thing you go to. What else? What it needs barbecue sauce. And she's like, yeah, I said that already. we ain't hear you though. Did you hear her mention barbecue sauce?
I didn't, but then they joke about doing a little cook-off, and she's like, well, I just may have to show you and make my fried, because he talks about his family's recipe for the fried chicken, and he's like, well, I can't share that with you until I know you know you cook. And she was like, oh, I can make some fried chicken. And it was a really cute moment. I mean, because we all know she don't cook, but she gonna try. And she's putting in effort for her boo.
She's trying to convince him.
Right. And I can appreciate it.
It ain't working, but she's trying to convince him. I thought that was cute. So they have their meetup with Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal. And Katina meets with Pastor Cal. They sit down on a little bench, and she lets him know that their marriage is good. And they have their little times where they're like on the outs a little bit, but that's normal for any couple.
Right.
And she lets him know about the dating app conflict in her phone.
Mm-hmm.
And she says that she didn't, I don't know. She said that
had the app. She did not, she removed her account, but she still had
the app on her phone. And Pastor Kyle seemed like he's like, yeah, like, I'm sure, like, okay, whatever, like, not a big deal. And she felt like this was a trigger for Elijah Wan, but she was upset because of the way he approached her.
Handled it. Yeah.
So, he says that she needs to, I guess, delve deeper and get to know more about Elijah Wan so that she can know why he acts.
That's a trigger for him.
Then he wants to talk about their intimacy, even though he knows it has not advanced.
But he wants to know why.
He don't want no details.
Without too much detail.
He don't want no details. So he's like, well, I know we're attracted to each other. He's like, well, how you know that he's attracted to you? She's like, I thought you didn't want no details. I thought the same thing. I was like, Pascal, I thought you didn't want no details. But he's like, well, without making me blush, okay? Give me some details without making me blush. So she's like, sometimes, he'll smack my ass, or he'll kiss me on the neck. Like, doesn't that mean like he's attracted to me? And he's like, yeah. Like that means he's attracted to you. So she says that she wants to have certain feelings before they cross that line. She doesn't want to be dick dizzy.
Okay. Or as we know, us older generation as dickmatized.
Dickmatized. Exactly. That thanks to Samora. Okay.
Right.
Dickmatized. Which basically means that when you are hung up on lust and instead of love, once you come to, you realize you didn't really like this motherfucker, it was really just a dick. And Pastor Kyle lets her know that in a marriage, it's okay. Like, it's good to be dickmatized. I can understand your concerns in a relationship.
Right. You don't have that commitment. But you have the commitment, boo. You could be a ho-ho, and it's okay. It's your husband. It's your husband.
Ho-ho. Not a ho-ho, Trees.
She could be a ho-ho for her husband.
The thing is, she said that, but from what we've previously seen, I don't think it's her that's withholding sex.
He could be a ho-ho for his wife too. He been one for everybody else. I'm just saying. So,
well, okay. So then Elijah Wan meets up with Dr. Pepper, and she wants to know what he needs to make his decision on decision day. And he says him and Katina have had so much, have so much in common, and even like their duh moments that they find humor in it. And he wants her to keep on expressing who she is, and he doesn't want to feel like his partner is like in the shadows. He loves that, she's coming into her own in this relationship. So he discusses the dating app. And Dr. Pepper says, yeah, I heard about that. how you were all lovey-dovey throughout the dinner, and then basically you flipped.
Right.
And you had everyone at the dinner feeling super uncomfortable. She says that her impression is that he talks down to her, and Olajuwon immediately
he gets
offended. He gets he was like, I mean, I feel like I talked to her sternly and she's more quiet than me, but talk down to her. So Dr. Pepper
brings up examples.
Yeah, she's like, maybe it's that you need to examine your tone. Because you told her that she has no life skills and she's behind you in terms of maturation.
And you did say that.
Mm-hmm. So Olajuwon immediately gets upset and says that if anyone has anything to say about him, they can say it to him. And he feels like she's pointing him out to make him look bad. Although I don't know how that's the case when you made yourself look bad by you saying it. She's just pointing out actually what you did. And he says that if she feels that he treats her that way, then she needs to say no on decision day. What I need you to do is learn how to communicate healthy, like Mark would say, because that was so unhealthy. And I love that Dr. Pepper wasn't here for it because she's not your woman. And that was giving super toxic. Dr. Pepper says, how would you talk to her in a way that's not demeaning?
Right.
And basically Olajuwon, he says that, yes, he did talk to her in that way, and that is how he felt in week 1 and week 2, but they've grown since then, and he's learned that he was going about this all the wrong way. He thought that if he expressed what was bothering him and what he didn't like, that
she would change.
And that's not how she works. She would curl up and ball up and
you shut down.
He would see nothing. Exactly. Okay. So he learned that he has to speak into her and help her. And ever since then, he has seen the complete opposite. He says he has a big heart for Katina, and he tells her that he sees so much growth in her. So after that being said, Dr. Pepper's like, so what do you think your decision is for decision day? He does not yet.
Yes, he can't say.
He does not have an answer yet.
I'm so over Olajuwon. I am. I'm sorry. I'm over it. Katina, I think you could do better at this point.
I think those videos are so nasty.
Okay.
So everyone is headed to play volleyball, except for Noi. She's at home with a headache. And I feel bad for her because I've been there. I go through that. I feel you. That would be a me. Like, this is.
I wonder if Noi is already knocked up. Just saying.
Seems like they do it all the time, is what it seemed like. But Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal with their little sneaky asses is in the cut, watching it every move without them knowing. So they want to see how they get along with each other during, like fun activities.
Right.
So it seems like everybody's getting along. Lindsay and Mark, they did some cute little handshake thing. I thought it was so super duper cute. They did like a little handshake and then like a little hit thing, and then they ripped off their little joggers. I thought it was super cute. Then they noticed.
You noticed that Katina and Olajuwon rode with Mark and Lindsay? I thought that was weird. I was like, when did this friendship evolve?
No, I didn't notice that, but I remember
they were in the car with Mark and Lindsay.
But remember back from the time when they went to the get their nails done, their pedicure, Lindsay was basically saying she wasn't gonna mention anything. She didn't want to say anything because her and Katina were in a good place. So it's probably grown, and that was a few episodes ago. So it probably grew from there. And they all live in the same building, right?
True.
So it probably grew from there. So the experts, they noticed that Olajuwon is the only one giving his wife instructions on how to, play the game. Now, I love volleyball, and I love the fact that
It did look fun. I was like, damn, I ain't played volleyball in a long time.
Yeah, I love volleyball. So after the game, everybody sits down to rest, and Michael talks about his conversation that he had with the experts, and goodness. Okay, so he talks about how he just feels that they need to work on deeper conversations. That they're in a good place, but they need to get to that, get to where they can have those deep conversations, so they can feel like they know each other more and feel more intimate.
Right.
Lindsay and Mark said they both
had tough days and bad arguments.
Yeah. And of course, Lindsay changed the subject and talks about some volleyball that's up in the ceiling.
Sprinkler.
And Pastor Cal, he notices it. He says she does this all the time. Apparently, this is a thing that she does, that she does. And I guess he ain't here for it. The experts say that they feel like they're both afraid of their emotions, but recognizes that Lindsay knows herself and she's open while Mark is withdrawn. So even in their communication, Lindsay's kind of, leaning towards Mark, and Mark is just kind of sitting there. And I can understand, after watching it, their body language, why Lindsay does not feel wanted or really anything by Mark, because he was giving nothing. He was so detached.
He was.
He was
crying, and he was like,
yeah, it was hard to watch. It was hard to watch because Lindsay actually seemed like she's all in. So Olajuwon and Katina let everybody know that they're doing well. Olajuwon also apologizes for the infamous dinner, and says that Dr. Pepper has some concerns, that he belittles his wife, and he makes himself seem more superior than her. He says that his wife is just reserved, and he likes to speak. He likes to speak loud. He speaks out. So he feels that Dr. Pepper has the wrong impression of him, and Dr. Pepper also,
the time was a waste.
He feels that Dr. Pepper was hung up on he say, she say, because apparently Dr. Pepper said, I heard this, I heard that, and he said that he felt like it's a waste, and it didn't help him at all. 90% of it was a waste. So he felt that she should have spoke more about things that would help their marriage rather than the negative stuff, which I felt like she did, but I don't know. Olajuwon is kind of.
No, Olajuwon don't see. He's very one.
So then Pastor Cal and
Dr. Pepper walk in.
Yeah, they come out.
Surprise.
Exactly. I'm here, Beach. And then Olajuwon looks like he could have just ate his fucking.
And I love Dr. Pepper coming with the heat. She was like, well, let's go ahead and address you first, since you got so much to say.
Since you loved our meeting so much. I was like, oh, okay. So she lets everyone know that during their sit down, Olajuwon interpret. Basically, she was there to let Olajuwon know, like, what everyone else that was watching interpreted, and wanted to give him the chance to defend himself.
Defend it and also correct it while you still have time on the show, because the way I love how she said it, because she was like, I'm trying to help you because the same thing that I see is what everyone else is going to see on TV. And right now you don't look good, bruh.
And so that you can let them know the growth from the beginning to where you are now. Olajuwon feels that he feels like, he's glad that she expressed that there was like a miscommunication, and that it was cleared up. Like she cleared the air. And he says that their relationship is for them, it's not for America.
Right.
They're gonna get it. And America can't shape their relationship into what they want it to be. It is what it is, basically. What's the word, Trace?
I hope. It's what it is.
It is what it is. So then the cow says that Katina has resolution in mind. And that's really what Olajuwon needs in his life. Mm-hmm. She does not look at the problem. She just looks for a resolution. And I hope you hearing me when I say this. This is what you need. And he's like, I'm here.
He's like, no, that's why I love. He's like, no, not love. Not in
not in love.
But
he said not in love. And they kind of corrected that. They were like, well, are you committed? Yeah. And they let him know that commitment and following through is love. And sometimes you may be in love and don't even realize it.
Drop them gems.
And I actually felt bad for Katina in this moment because it seemed like I'm going to use a Treese term, build her up to let her down.
Right.
Because
that's what he does.
Because he was talking so beautifully about her. And then to say, but I'm not in love with her. And you could see the hurt on her face.
But did you see her face when he was talking so highly about her? And she was smiling. Mm-hmm. That's why I said, I hate to say it, it's an abuse cycle. She was smiling from ear to ear. And then the minute he could like rip and snatch, that's how much control he has. It changed her whole mood.
Mm-hmm. And then it's like he didn't even notice. He's still like laughing and smiling in her face. And she's just like, so I really felt bad for Katina in that moment. I definitely felt like he could have used a different. I didn't even feel like it needed to be said.
Right.
Okay, but
he could have just said, "That's why I appreciate my wife," or he could have just let it go and said, "That's why I love her," and kept it moving.
Exactly. So Dr. Pepper discusses with Lindsay that she understands that her anger comes from sadness, but she says that exact anger is what that exact anger is the exact thing that makes Mark shut down. Mm-hmm. So she feels that she should just express her pain that she's feeling and not express it through anger. And she thinks like this will be a huge help in their relationship. She also feels that they should still touch in times when they're upset, which I don't know how that's going to work out because the last time Lindsay did that, Mark was not feeling it.
He was like, don't touch me.
Yeah, I don't know how. He's like, you don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to grab me. And I don't know how that's going to, I would just thought, look, we've been there. We done that. Lindsay says the night after meeting with Pastor Cal that she, Mark told her like he's not going anywhere, and he expressed everything that he was told, but she didn't feel like the actions matched, which we can see, especially even here, playing volleyball. Then
Pastor Cal does tell Lindsay to give Mark some time, and basically tells her marriage ain't for no punks, okay? It's real deal, Holyfield. And she says basically that she loves him, but he drives her bananas. And Pastor Cal says, well, welcome to marriage. Duh.
So then they get on to Jasmina and Michael. Jasmina was like, oh, I thought y'all was done. I didn't know, it was why gotta be my turn, basically. So Jasmina basically, she feels like they had a great discussion after they got back home. and she feels like he genuinely cares for her. So she knows she's no longer holding back herself from him. And she feels like it was a good conversation on both parts. She lets us know that she's not uncomfortable with physical touch from him. It's just that she really doesn't feel anything when he does, which
I'll say big up to Michael. He took this well. He took this
right,
very
look, right on the chin.
right.
But you know, she believes that it's because they haven't had like those deep communications where, you know, that help them connect emotionally.
Right.
Which I can, you know, understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Pepper lets her know, like, you need to change that language to yet. Because when you say things like that, it makes it sound final, like it's never going to happen. So we haven't had those deep communications to connect emotionally yet, or I'm not there yet. And she feels like, you know, that'll be a huge help for them as well. And then Pastor Kyle reminds them that he told them this is not going to be easy. Marriage is what, Trace? Not for
Pumps.
So it ain't easy. So pull up them straps, pull up them boots,
Right.
get to work.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us for another review of Married at First Sight. This is episode 13. Y'all are starting to get a little 90-day fiance on us, but we'll bear with it. But thank you for joining us. Please make sure, if you have not already, that you like the video before you leave.
Definitely comment.
Subscribe.
Definitely subscribe. Join our Shade Squad family. And hit the notification bell so that you know when we'll be back.
And make sure that you're following us on all platforms. And we will catch y'all later this weekend, because all the shows come on the weekend. But we will catch y'all later for another review of Married at First Sight next week. Have a good night.
Front, back, side to side. Make sure you go like and subscribe. Front, back, side to side. Make sure you go like and subscribe. Hey!